Hey everyone, to stick with Us versus Herd. If it's your first time here, you like the content, hit subscribe. If you want to get notifications from when we go live, tap the bell. And if you want to join the UVH fam, our community, links are below in the description. What we're going to do today was kind of crazy. The what's going on, Chathan? How you doing? What's popping? Um, Today was crazy. The So what we know right now regarding the China deal is that there's been an agreement or between U.S. negotiators and China. However, we're waiting for Trump to sign off on the deal. So we don't know if that's going to happen. Trump was supposed to be meeting with them um, now. I think it was 2:30 Eastern time. So he's been in there. He's been in there a couple hours. So I don't know. I don't know if he actually made it there or if he's or not. But um, the interesting thing here is USO's getting squeezed. Short USO. Yeah, oil's going up due to production cuts. Um, Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Right now it's at 59.28 a barrel. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes up to 60. um, but the White House offered to scrap those duties. The 15% of tariffs that are supposed to take effect Sunday, and they also looking to slash the existing tariffs in half. So if that's the case, I mean, things could get really, I think right now with the trade war, we don't really care so much that there's a trade war. It's more about the tariffs being in place. Right now it's all about the tariffs. So it's about whether or not Sunday night we're going to put more tariffs on China, or we're going to take some off, or maybe nothing's going to happen. So far, nothing's going to happen. But one of the best things about today was this gem here from Mr. Donald Trump, getting very close to a big deal with China. They want it, and so do we. So with that in mind, the market just ripped on that. That was at five minutes into market open. Trump tweeted that because we actually started the day out flat to a little bit reddish. We were basically flat on the day when the market started, and then we ripped up to 317, and then it gave what, like half that back, about 2/3, and then continued to rip on throughout the rest of the day. So if you're here right now, say what up. Yeah, looks like it's up a little bit after hours. We close at 317.13 on the SPY. I mean, breaking it. So we were hitting a little bit of resistance up here. I'm not talking about like a big resistance, but we were hitting a little bit of resistance here at 315, and we've blown past that today. We closed about it. So this could. I bet there were a lot of people kind of shorting at 315, and there's also probably a lot of people that are betting against the trade war. I mean, to be honest with you, I was betting against, not financially, but I was thinking I've pretty much been trying to stay away from the trade war this week. But it looks like these people could get squeezed pretty big. Airbnb says it will collect $2 billion this year on tourist and occupancy taxes. Ice cooler, what's going on, man? But I mean, as you can see, like Apple was pretty much mimicking Spy. They were closing down, so they actually opened at 267 today. And the reason why they opened lower is because they said that the iPhone 11 sales for November in China slowed down, which is why they sold off pre-market. But it just ripped. Like, it didn't even give you the opportunity to get in there. I think if anything, if you were short Apple, it gave you the opportunity to get out of Apple. But you had to close it. Probably people were getting greedy with Apple because they were getting squeezed here, and then they were thinking, oh, we're gonna go down to like the 265, 264 area, and then it didn't happen. So if you were short Apple, I hope you close it out on that dip. I mean, you had closed at what 270 yesterday, and then it opened today at 267. So you got a $3 to $4 dipish on Apple, but you're probably in trouble. Fario, how's it going? You guys want to do me the favor? Tap the like, hit the like button for me. We're starting this new channel. Has been very, very interesting. Actually, I should starting this new channel. It's kind of like starting over, and people are like, why would you like want to start over? Well, because I believe in the future. The future is saying that I have to pivot, right? Let me actually post this real quick on the main channel. Keith, how you doing, man? Listening, not watching, got paid. If you made money today, comment got paid. If you lost money today, comment learned a lesson. Apple's such a huge part of the S&P 500 now. Like, if you think about it, things started getting really crazy last year because Apple started selling off hard. Yeah. So when Apple was tanking hard, I mean, S&P was down, Dow was down because now of the new tech weighting, the new tech weighting in the S&Ps. I mean, it brings everything down. Nasdaq was down, and then just the majority of things were down pre-market due to Apple tanking so hard, but that lasted all of 5 seconds. Like, Trump was like, "Hey, we're opening red today." Not anymore. We're moving on up. We are going to be doing a deal here. We'll get into some news. I'm going to talk about my trades real quick. Do you guys want me to talk about my trades, or you want me to talk about more news? I have more stuff about the news. We got Costco earnings. We have Adobe earnings. We have Broadcom AVGO earnings. I want to talk about Boeing. What else? Should I do my trades, or should we talk about the news? Hey, the MLB removes pot from list of banned substances. Will test for opioids after pitcher's death. So, if you're in the MLB, you can now smoke a doobie. All right, so what we're going to do here, let me get up my trades, kind of see how I did today. I'd say I did well today for what I closed out. Opening trades not as successful, but we'll see what happens. Today wasn't that bad of a day, honestly. I mean, I had a nice win on Lululemon, TNDM. We'll come back to that. I'll let you know what's going on with that. But Lulu was my winner today. But let's talk about. Actually, let's talk about Lululemon. So yesterday, let me pull up Lulu. I placed a pretty wide iron condor. What's up, Peter? I placed a pretty wide iron condor on Lululemon. I sold the 215 put. I bought the 210 put. And then I sold the 255 call, and I bought the 260 call. So it was $20 on each side. It was currently trading. Lululemon yesterday was trading at 235, so it was really equal weighted on each side. I was really trying to figure out if I want to do one contract or two contracts, and I wussed out and I only did one contract. Now I wish I did two contracts. Also, so what I did was at open, so I bought it. I got $1.51 credit for it, and then I got 51 cents debit for that when I sold it. So I made $100 on that trade. Closed like 1 second into open. So what I did was I was worried about it closed immediately. As soon as market opened, it closed. And the reason for it is it came back up to 226, and I think that I could have got more money for that. Definitely, I queued up my order because I was really I don't know if it's going to show me. Let me see here. I don't know if it's going to show me that trade. And I had it for this week expiration. Let's see if we can. Let's try to analyze. I don't know if it's going to. Let's see here. I was selling the 215. I bought the 210, and I was selling the 255, and I bought the 260. Oh, now it's only worth 6 cents now. Yo, blackout. Working man Steve, what's going on? So this was a pretty wide iron counter. I sold it right at open 51 cents. As you can see, since open, it's come down. It's only worth 6 cents now. But I was pretty much just trading. Let's go to the analysis page on here. I've been using this a lot on Tastyworks. And if I have this position, it's not gonna look right. But essentially, at the time it said, I was pretty much pricing out the options through this and what it would be if there was an IV crush, but the IV crush was a little bit more extreme. You know, the IV crush came down. I don't know why it doesn't update the IV crush here, because if you look at Thinkorswim, Lululemon, it's saying that the IV on these is only 34% now for these weeklies. So the IV rank, IV implied volatility is only 34% here. But on Tastyworks, if I open and close my platform, maybe it'll show it's only showing 123%, which yesterday it was at like 170. I think it was like 170 or 150%. So I was pretty much relying on that number. So that's why I put in. I thought they were going to be going for 70 cents. And I lowballed it. I put in for 51 cents, but then I know that when I do that, I don't get the best deal when I get an order filled immediately. So could have got some more money in there, but not complaining. I'm not complaining that I didn't make $1 on that. And then 30 minutes into open, I think that I rushed it. Actually, I know for sure that I rushed it. Lululemon, I bought the 225 call. Let me actually just pull this up for next week. I bought the 225 call. I bought it for $355. It's going for, let's say, $365 right now. I made 150% gain on a put on Thor, but I lost that on a put on HD. Yeah. I got an HD position too right now. I'm going to go over, David. So let me just show you this. One of the things that I've been working on is I had a plan going into this that I was going to buy the dip on Lulu after I got out of my Iron Condor, and I think that I didn't let the option die enough, and then also I got to work on a little bit of FOMO because I actually was narrow. I was actually looking at a position. I was patient at open. Okay, so this is today. I was actually looking at it when the price was under $3. Daniel. Seawin, we're going to go over Costco. I was actually looking at it under $3, and then I chased a little bit, and I didn't get a fill till $3.55, and I could have closed it out at $4.50. I was up like $100 on it, but then it came back down. So that's the thing is I was looking at in terms of my trading plan. I had no intentions of closing this today. I actually left for the afternoon and it came back, and I saw that Lulu was coming back up, so I didn't touch it. I've been trying to get better at sticking with the plan. Ever since I had that BA position yesterday, I didn't stick with the plan. Then I lost $40 instead of making 100% on it. So what I'm trying to do is, when I know things aren't going to be a day trade, to really slow things down and just stick with the original plan that I had set. And obviously, due to Lulu staying the same price, if you look here at let's just say 220 at 9 a.m., it was 305, cost like $3. And then if you look at noon, 220 again at noon, However, that option is now worth 235. So because it was staying the same, and theta and implied volatility, all that stuff was dying down, I shouldn't have rushed out. I should have waited for a better entry. I shouldn't have. I was just worried that I was going to dip and rip back up. Lulu was going to dip, and then it was starting to rip, and I thought, okay, this could go back to green, and then it didn't. So I think patience is in order. You know what I mean? Like, I think the biggest issue for most traders is patience. Patience in making sure your plan works out and sticking to the plan, and then patience on entering. And then you feel bad. I think the thing is, you feel bad when you are patient and then it rips up beyond your expectations. Like, man, I could have just got a position there. Now I can't enter because it's already exceeded. It's already gone past where I wanted to buy it at, and I don't know. It probably doesn't have much juice left in it, so I'm just gonna chill. So that's what I didn't want to go like, oh, we're gonna go from 225 and we're gonna rip up to 235, because once sometimes like this happens, the algos catch on, and then it just goes on a frenzy and just goes back to break even. I thought it had a good potential on this run to go back to break even, but that's not what happened. It did close pretty strong. I mean, we closed up here. We could have averaged down, but I didn't. But I have time on it. So when I have time on it, I'm just trying to be patient and relax. Almost everything hit a 52-week high. May the force be with all of us that are holding Lulu calls. Yeah, I mean, but if you look here, for even like this week, next week, I mean, everything got crushed on Lululemon. Just need to be more patient. I should have just took the day trade and washed my hands of it, but now we're in it for the long run. You know what I mean? The expected move on Lulu for next week is plus or minus $8. So, hey, maybe we made a good purchase. Yeah. So that's where my thoughts are on Lulu. I know a lot of people are holding Lulu calls, including myself. Home Depot. So another plan that I had that I was planning out pre-market was buying a long position on Home Depot, and I actually it's down a little bit. It's down a little bit right now, down $27. I did get it for 15 days out, so I'm not too concerned right now. I have a debit spread. I bought it on for $1.42, which is a little bit more expensive than I wanted to. So what's up, Jeff? I just got caught up in the run here, and it sold off a lot. So I put that on 8:39 a.m. and I just got caught up in this whole run up. The market was running hot. I mean, if you guys remember at open, I mean, everything was running pretty hot. But I still think it's a good play. I mean, if you're looking at the 1 year chart, I do think that this could come back up to 215, 216, 217 area. My target's 217 for this within the next 15 days, December 27th, especially if we have just like a melt up. So that's really what I was playing here. So I did open that a little bit too expensive. I mean, it went to HD. Let's see what it's worth right now. So actually I can do it right here. So I have December 27th, and I bought the 215 and I sold the 220. So it's now worth $1.14. I paid $1.42. So I just rushed into that. Probably should be more patient and caught the dip here, but we got time on it, and that's the thing. I put a video out last week. I don't know if you guys saw it. Last Friday, I said that I'm just going to trade in stocks that I believe in, plays that I believe in. I'm not going to try to overtrade. I'm not going to try to be something that I'm not. Like, I'm not going to try to be this crazy day trader that's turning pennies options into thousands of dollars, stuff like that. I'm just going to trade the way that I like to trade. I'm going to look at the plays that I like to play, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm staying true to that. And this is one of those plays that even though I got in a little bit more expensive than I wanted to, at the end of the day, we got 15 days on it, so it's nothing that you need to be worried about. Just something that I'm monitoring right now. That's why you also on those spreads like that, you want to give yourself enough time. So, I definitely think that spread's gonna be worth $2 to $3. I paid $1.42, so we'll make some money out of it. Maybe not a ton of money or as much money as you would when it's $1.14, but right now we're talking about $30 that I left on the table from the entry. So just got to be careful when the market is moving fast like this. We have to be careful about our entries. We can't just hop in, hop out, get all crazy, chase. Line the shot up. I finding in this type of market, you have to line the shot up and take the shot and stick with your plan. I agree. It looks like the buy the dip situation for Home Depot, but maybe more for stock instead of options. Yeah, I mean, I did do a debit spread on it, so I think if it maintains this area, we're not going to be hurt too much. I mean, I was up on that position when it was pushing 213.50, 214 area. I was up on that position. Right now, we're down like $20. Just laid flat here in Power Hour. It had some crazy spikes here, basically on the news. I'm trying to see if there's any news come out. No news has come out yet on the trade deal or anything, but it's sounding good. Now let's talk about. I have a couple more trades, but let's talk about TNDM and the reason why I'm bag holding that. When did I put that on? I put that on. So TNDM I put on for 250, and this was another one of those trades that I was getting a little bit into the FOMO and the run, and this is the same type of setup. I got in too early, and I knew that it could potentially revisit this area, but I decided to get in anyways. So TNDM, I put it to trade on. I'm currently down. This sucked out $110 in premium today. So let me show you this and how I'm going to manage this. So I have it for next week expiration. That's December 20th. I have the 60 call. So we'll see what happens with it. The reason why I didn't sell it is because I thought that I was going to revisit the 58 area, and it did, and it held. If it was going to break 57, I'd probably cut it loose, but it didn't. It's currently maintaining this line right here where it's bounced in the past. Back in August, it's bounced here back in November, and now here we are again. So that's the only reason why I'm holding on, because I'll see what happens to it tomorrow. Fridays, I'll adjust. So typically what I'm trying to do here is, let's say I buy something 2 weeks out, and if it's not working for me that week, on the Friday, I'll look at it to adjust it. Maybe I'll average down. Maybe I'll turn it into a spread, or maybe I will just let it ride. We'll see what happens. I just want to be careful with it. You don't want to make a crazy assumption when you're riding at support here. So you want to make a good decision, but you also want to preserve capital. So we'll see what happens. If it's going to break below, if it breaks below 57, chances are it's going to go to 53, 52 area. So then we'll definitely need to cut it loose if it breaks 57. But that's the current situation. So I'm not going to adjust it yet. Now, this other play here, RH. So Restoration Hardware, I put a trade on as well. Paid a little bit too much for it. Got it into close. I have a strangle on it for tomorrow's expiration. I have the 222.50 call, and I have the 215 put. And let me pull up RH. Now, RH, I've been watching. I made some money. I made money on the earnings, made some pretty good money on that. I've been watching this, and I thought that it was going to bounce, but it didn't. And today it had a really good breakdown. The puts are up. Delete this here. The puts today on RH were up 2,000%, 1,900%. Just insane. And so what I was really looking at was let me pull this up. I was looking at this EMA line, and it was pretty extended off that. I'm sorry, the SMA line. It was pretty extended off the SMA line, and revisited it today. It did close below the SMA, so it has. I think it has a very good potential to either go down to like 210 tomorrow, or lower, depending if it picks up momentum, or I have a bullish position on it, so I actually think that it could go up. So I'm thinking it's going to revisit like 225, 227 area tomorrow is what the plan is. Normally I wouldn't open a trade like that for tomorrow's expiration, but it held this line pretty good. It was resting right on that SMA line, so I was going to see if we're going to gap up tomorrow or the stock's going to run tomorrow. I mean, this chart, if you're looking at the 1-year chart, I mean, it was just crazy off the earnings. I mean, it just got squeezed all the way up to 243, gave back $23, and then it was just holding. So, we'll see what happens with Restoration Hardware, or RH. But that's what I have going on right now. Let's see Costco. Let's see what Costco's going on. Costco, I was looking to sell premium in Costco. I didn't like that it was only a $9 expected move. And granted, I mean, it's only down $3. I just didn't really want to risk it. I mean, Costco has had quite a run this year. However, earnings, it generally doesn't do anything on earnings. Usually on earnings, what happens is it opens up kind of flat, and then it's a delay effect. So as you can see here, last earnings, it opened up flat, and then we melted up to 304. And then, as you can see here, back in April or May 30th, it opened a little bit lower, a couple dollars lower, which is basically flat, and then was a catalyst to rip up to from 240 to 260. So we need to see what it does. Right now, they did beat on EPS. We got to see why it's dropping. Let's see if we have Costco earnings here. Adobe did beat as well. So I don't have the actual Costco numbers, but right now it's looking like it's going to open flat. So it would have been a good Iron Condor play, but I was just a little scared. Plus I had the RH trade on for tomorrow anyway, so I've been doing pretty well picking my options trades. The other thing that I didn't like about Costco is the IV rank on these weeklies were only 59% for this week, and the implied volatility for next week was only 31%. So if I wanted to kick it out, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot going on there in terms of implied volatility and premium that I wanted to grab. So it just didn't look that interesting to me. ATVI, we can talk about that real quick before I get into Adobe. ATVI, I was trading a little bit. I was trading it when it was between like when it was getting around like 53, 54. I didn't anticipate a run like this, so that's a pretty ginormous run. Now that it's having a breakout, it definitely makes it interesting to me. So we'll see. I don't know if is that an all-time high? Probably, right? No. So last year. So looks like we're set to close this gap here. So I think this could run to 62, 65 area. So this could be a very good trade for a close the gap trade. So I like that. So we can look in that. So nice close the gap there after it's dropped in the last year. Adobe, UK election results at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks, Chathan. Adobe. Okay. So let's get Adobe going on here. Adobe's move was only $9 as well. It's currently at $312, so it's still within the expected move. However, it's testing on the upside. When it was hitting like $317 area, it was testing on the upside. So I don't think this would have been a very safe play. Adobe stock heads toward record highs after earnings showed 20% revenue gains continuing. So I knew they were going to be doing well, but Adobe, so they beat on EPS, they beat on revenue, and they're probably going to raise guidance as well. So Adobe has just been crazy, but as you can see on past earnings, has been relatively flat as well. And I was just worried that because it's a tech stock or a cloud stock, that it could really, it could really rip. So that's what I was worried about on the tech stocks in terms of Adobe. So that's why I didn't sell premium there. I'm glad I didn't sell premium there because I would have been tested. Could have sold some premium on cost and been okay. So we'll see what happens with that. AVGO is the other one. AVGO, they're another one. Implied volatility was at 71%. I've typically been leaning towards 100 to 120, over 100, let's just say 100% to 175% on the IV implied volatility, and these were just coming in too low. Not enough juice. $12 expected move on a $327 stock. Just didn't like it, but seems like it's within a range right now. It did rip up $10, which puts you testing the upside. So, but then it came back down. So we'll see what happens. Shop, Daniel. Shop. Man, they didn't move, but they didn't move in the last couple days, but definitely some good day trading in here if we wanted to. Let me see if they're liquid. The one thing I used to trade Shop a lot, but I mainly sold spreads on it. But the volume was always terrible. But it looks like volume is picking up now. The volume is pretty nice on these puts. Volume is nice on the call side as well. Excuse me. Let's see what next week is for the volume. Yeah, I mean, there's decent volume here. Definitely, volume is skewed 100% to the call side right now. So, looking at it, I mean, it's had this massive run from 320 up to 375. I mean, it's just consolidating right now. It's not dropping or anything, but I mean, it has some pretty wide swings. What's the $8 expected move going into tomorrow? I mean, that's crazy. $21 expected move for next week. So these things are going to be a little bit on the high side with those expected moves. But I mean, the stock does move. I mean, today alone, it moved from 375 to 365 back up to 372. So definitely would have been some good day trading. And even yesterday, decent day trade here yesterday, and from 364 to 381 and then down. So it's very two-sided, so that's good. DXY selling off after hours. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Shop consolidates. I would be looking for more of a day trade in Shop than I would be a swing trade, because the theta is just going to eat you. Because as you can see, it's been moving sideways here. Might be a good time if you want to put on some sort of iron condor. You just got to be very careful. DXY. DXY. Nothing. Did you mean a different ticker? DX. What's going on, Andrew? Trump signed off on the phase 1 deal. Don't know if you already knew that. I didn't know. So Trump signed off. Here, Chathan, here you go. Boris Johnson, Conservative Party, set to win UK election with a clear majority. Boris is going to win it. Oh, currency dollar today. I had to put the dollar in front of it. Okay, got you. The vote is set to be held. Let's see here. Conservatives consistently led voter opinion polls up the Brexit impasse, and political chaos in the House of Commons ultimately led to Thursday's snap and general election. So we'll see what happens. I don't see the President Trump signs off on a phase 1 trade agreement with China to avert tariffs for December 15th, Bloomberg reports. So Bloomberg really makes you, you know, they've been having the scoop on this trade war stuff, man. Like not Mike Bloomberg. Watch the impeachment right now live. Here we go. Trump signs off U.S.-China trade deal to avert tariffs. Let's see here. To avert the 160 billion tariffs that are supposed to go in on Sunday. Are they going to be cutting? Let's see here. Are they going to be cutting the tariffs in half like they were suggesting elsewhere, or doesn't say? So we'll see what happens. Looks like we need some more information, but that's good. They're going to delay tariffs with the China averting the December 15th. The deal presented to Trump to trade advisors Thursday, including a promise by the Chinese to buy more agricultural goods, according to the People. Officials also discussed possible reductions of existing duties on Chinese products. They said the terms have been agreed, but the legal text has not yet been finalized. All right, so I guess we'll see. The markets are up a tad. And so this is getting pounded. Key to the moon. So yeah, I mean that is. What do you guys think? You guys think? I mean, in terms of the S&P, I mean, now if we have a phase 1 deal, I mean DXY US dollar index, I mean this could come down to 96 area, like the low 96 area. You know, it's a crazy world we live in. You know, I mean, that was up. I mean, these are pushing up right now. The Chinese stock. So Nvidia went nuts today. Nvidia just ripped from 216 to 224. I mean, that was. I mean, I think people were just pricing in that they were going to come to a deal, and that's how the market's reacting. Because the markets weren't reacting like there wasn't going to be a deal. You know what I mean? They were always pricing in that there was going to be a deal. They weren't pricing in that there wasn't going to be a deal. That was very telling, I think. But you also don't want to be caught with your pants down either. Like we could have bought a lot of calls, but then because the market wasn't reacting, and then all of a sudden, then the market cares. So Alibaba as well. I mean, this thing's pushing up. I mean, all these stocks are just going to be breaking new highs now. Nvidia, I think, has a bit to catch up though, right? From where it's come down from. Yeah, Nvidia is more interesting to me than Alibaba right now. I mean, I do think that Alibaba was being undervalued for the last couple of years due to the trade war, but you know, Nvidia, the one thing about Nvidia is they had a massive run in 2017, 2016, mainly because of the crypto world. Everyone was popping graphics cards and building machines and stuff like that. But now that the hype died down and crypto died, so did Nvidia's stock. But now it's starting to make its way back up as they command more in the AI space. But they get a lot of revenue from China, so they've also been impacted by the tariffs as well. So Nvidia is probably looking like possibly a good strangle play now that it's breaking above 220 here. You know, I was really looking at, let me show you what I was looking at. You know, pretty much right in here, right at 220, where it's had trouble in the past, and then we had trouble on it on November 25th. It couldn't break above, so it broke down to 200. But now that we're pushing above, I mean, clear skies to 240. The other stock that I was looking at, I was on the fence. I was on the fence about GS. I was on the fence about the. I even have my line still there, I think. I don't. Oh, I do. Here it is. There it is. So GS, I was on the fence of this 222 area. I was thinking about buying the 222.50 calls just the other day when it was coming back down. It bounced back up to 224. It came down to like the 220, 221 area. So I was thinking about buying the 222.50 calls, and I didn't pull the trigger. I was trying to keep my risk low, but these today for next week, I was looking at next week expiration. They went from $2 yesterday up to $5.25 today. They even hit $5.70 today, so that would have been, the banks would have been a good play. But I've just been kind of scaling my risk back due to the Fed and the trade war, trade news. All right, any other stocks you guys want to look at? Now that we got the Fed, we'll see if we have a trade deal behind us. Then we can close out the rest of the year green. Looks like Trump is going to have a lot to brag about in the next election. If we end the hot year, like if SPY is at 320 or above, I mean, he's just going to have bragging rights for forever, which is probably why, we're pushing to a deal. Everyone wants a deal is what he's saying. So Costco earnings show sales growth despite late Thanksgiving holiday. Airbnb will collect $2 billion. Oh yeah, the Boeing. Boeing today. I was actually looking to Boeing to place a trade. So yesterday, I sold my 355 call for next week at a loss, and it rebounded because I didn't stick to the plan, got squeezed out, and I had some weak hands. And then today it came back that Boeing came back down to 341, back up to 340, 347 area, and it was due to American Airlines is taking the 737 MAX off the schedule until April. And it pushed it low, but the problem was I couldn't get a trade because the option pricing was not reacting properly. So I was looking at the. So let's look at the. I believe I was looking at 350 for next week. So we got 8 days. So let me see here. So the option pricing, I felt like it wasn't cooperating. It dipped. I mean, these were at 450, the 350 calls. It dipped down to 240, but I felt like it wasn't enough going all the way down to 341, so I just didn't put a position on. If you look at, I had the 350. I had the 350. Sorry, that was the 350. I had the 355 calls yesterday that I sold for $1.10, and these ripped today up to 371. Just curious about your opinion, best case scenario for the first 6 months of the year. Where does the Dow Jones go? How high can it go? I'm 3 stocks that should look at for the new year for options trading. I guess it really depends on where we end and the finalization of this phase 1 deal. And if all this stuff kind of blows away and things with China are doing better and optimism is high. I mean, the numbers for the economy, like such as manufacturing PMI, came in a little bit lower. Job growth was good. Unemployment at an all-time low. So with reports like that, we should be squeezing higher. I think the issue would be finding things of value. Boeing is for me a buy this dip stock like around the 340 area, because you can see over the last year, every time it's been in the 340 area, it's been bought up. So I wouldn't mind getting into some calls into January. However, we have to be careful with Boeing because they're having a lot of bad press. And as you can see, the bad press today, even though it tanked it really hard from 349 down to 341, it was immediately bought up. I was hoping that it was going to stay around here so I could put a position on, but it didn't happen. So Tobin, I'll make a separate video regarding stocks that I'm looking at into the new year. And I can make a video that says, like, 3 stocks that I'm looking for in January, blah blah blah. But right now I was trying to find things of value. I mean, I think Amazon has been lagging this year compared to the sector. They've just been bouncing between. I mean, they did hit a high of 2,000, but they've been basically between 1,700, 1,800 for the last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 months. After falling off at 2,000. So I'd like to see if Amazon's numbers can improve and if they could start moving back up. I mean, having a year of consolidation is not a bad thing. I mean, if you look over the last 4 years, I mean, it's been really just uphill for Amazon, right? From 474 up to 2,000. So it's not bad that it's taking a break here. Consolidation over a period of time is good and it's healthy for a bull run. If you're going from 474 up to 2,000, it quadrupled in price. Consolidation is not a bad thing, and it could, they're probably going to go up higher. The question is, are they going to go up higher in 2020? Is it going to continue to consolidate, or is it going to push higher in 2020? So that, we don't know. We can just assume. And when you're buying stocks is one thing, you can buy and hold for a long time, but for options, we're more price sensitive, right? So when we're buying options, we have to be more precise because of the timing, and that's one of the things that, like, Warren Buffett says, is you can't time the markets. But when you're trading options, that's exactly what you're doing, is you're timing the markets. So there's people there's a debate whether or not Warren Buffett is a good investor or a good trader versus a more of a good company owner. Some people don't call Warren Buffett an investor. They just call him an owner, and he's good at corporate takeovers and finding value. But they're not saying he's good at trading. They're not saying he's good at investing. So, as you know, it's controversial. It's controversial on whether you think that Warren Buffett is good at investing or not good at investing. Fact of the matter is, dude's still a billionaire, came from nothing, and he's like one of the only businesses, self-starting businesses in the Fortune 500 or Fortune 100, whatever it is. I don't know the exact facts on that, but we can look up. Watch the, if you're interested, watch the Warren Buffett documentary on HBO. They go through all that highlights, so it gives you the background of where Warren came from and what he does all day, which is kind of interesting because literally after watching that, Warren Buffett, he literally just sits in his office and reads. He doesn't have anything on his schedule. He gets 0 phone calls. He gets 0 emails. He just sits and he chills and reads about companies that he's interested in putting a stake in. So, it's kind of interesting because you would say that a guy like him, he's probably pulled in a million different directions. But I mean, if you see, he doesn't do that many interviews. He does a couple press conferences a year. He does go on CNBC every once in a while, and the big thing he does is like the investor day for Berkshire Hathaway. But other than that, I mean, dude's schedule's clean. So it's like he's figured it out. So, anyways, enough about me ranting about that. We'll see what the market is doing right now. With SPY is running. a little bit. So we'll see what happens. But this could be a big gap up. I don't think we'll really see until tonight what the futures are like, and then in the morning see what really happens. Right now the market's not really reacting that much. So big day ahead. It's gonna be an interesting Friday, especially impacted stocks like Apple, Nvidia, Alibaba, Boeing, all those stocks, Caterpillar, are going to have an impact. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to jet. Thanks for hanging out. As always, stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd.